Okay, with Game of Thrones less than a week away. I mean, I guess basically exactly a week away. Uh, I thought I'd sort of go over some things I think we might see. So I wrote up 7 predictions for season 7, as it's the number 7, and it just makes sense. And I'll just go through these one by one. I think that somehow Littlefinger is going to turn Sansa against Jon Snow, or Jon Stark now. I don't know. And this is something that I don't love this idea from just a narrative standpoint. I don't really like the thought of Sansa turning against her. Well, she thinks he's her brother, but really I guess they're cousins if everything plays out the way it looks like it is. Just because it's the first two Starks to come back together since the very beginning of the entire show. And it doesn't make a lot of sense for me for Sansa to listen to anything that Littlefinger says, but it's Littlefinger and he's extremely manipulative. So I just have this gut feeling that Sansa and Jon are going to have some kind of falling out, and that Littlefinger is going to be behind it. Cersei is sort of the big bad opposing Daenerys. Although I've talked about this before, I think Daenerys is kind of a villain in this story. Right now, Cersei seems badly outnumbered. The Lannisters have a big army, but it's been worn down through years of war and battles, and many of her allies have abandoned her. All her children are dead. It's not looking good for her, especially because Daenerys, on the other hand, has dragons, Unsullied, mercenaries, the Dothraki, Highgarden, Sunspear, just an enormous list of allies. But I think Cersei is going to have something up her sleeve. And I don't know what this will be, but she always... I said this when I was making predictions for season 6. I said, don't underestimate the ruthlessness of Cersei. And lo and behold, she goes and burns the entire sept down with Marjorie and the High Sparrow and all her enemies in it. So don't underestimate Cersei. I think she's going to pull something out of a hat. And it might be Euron Greyjoy. And we might see Dragonbinder, the horn that can control dragons. I think this would be a great time to bring that into play, because the scales are just tipped too heavily toward Daenerys. It's almost not even fun when she can just plow through any obstacle, destroy any enemy, gather these mighty armies. I mean, you want to kind of root for her, I guess, because Cersei's so bad, but I don't know, it's boring. So I hope that Euron Greyjoy allies with Cersei and they steal the dragons. That would be exciting. Another prediction here is that that Jaime will finally leave Cersei, and I think that that's because in the books Jaime was more troubled and had changed and grown more into what you might call a good person, as opposed to a guy who would throw a child off of a tower balcony and paralyze him. So I'm hoping that we see an evolution of that character, and that he leaves Cersei. I think one reason that might happen, if Euron does ally himself with Cersei, they may do that through marriage. That's always possible, right? And Cersei has certainly been married before. So if Euron and Cersei hook up, I'm pretty sure that'll be the last straw for Jaime. So that's kind of a bit of a maybe a wild guess, but I could see it happening. I think Arya is going to reunite with the Brotherhood without banners. It just makes sense, especially without Lady Stoneheart. But it makes sense since we've seen the Hound reunite with the Brotherhood, and then Arya reunite. Maybe she'll even get her wolf back. That would be amazing, though. I don't know. It seems like the wolves have just played a really small role in the show, so I don't really see it happening. But it's possible. Either way, I think she does hook up with them, but I think the reason for that is so that she can meet back up with the Hound. And I think the reason for that is because I think we're going to see the Hound and Arya go south again. I don't know if Arya will reunite with Jon and Sansa. I don't think she will, because I think that would disrupt some of the politicking that's going on up there if Arya was suddenly in the mix. So I think she and Hound are going to go south. She wants to check off the last names on her kill list. She wants to take out Gregor, the Mountain, and Cersei. And so we may get Clegane Bowl finally. Clegane Bowl, the long-awaited, long-rumored fight between the Hound and the Mountain. And maybe Arya will get a shot at Cersei. Okay, moving on. The Wall. I think the Wall's coming down this season. I guess it's possible it comes down in season 8, the last season, but I see this happening either the second to last or the last episode. I see the Wall coming down, and it could be the other horn, the Horn of Winter, that brings it down, or it could be Bran. And I say Bran because if you remember in the last season, he was with the Three-Eyed Raven, and he went into the vision with the Raven, and the Night King was there, and the Night King sensed him and reached out and touched him, and that mark he left on Bran's arm was like a Trojan horse, and it took down all the magical defenses that were over the cave, protecting the Three-Eyed Raven and everyone in there. So then the Night King was able to come and kill the Three-Eyed Raven, and they had to run away, and Hodor hold the door for them, and it was very sad. And Bran has that mark on his arm, and you wonder if he passes through the wall, is that the same magic protecting the wall that was protecting the Three-Eyed Raven? And if so, will he bring the wall's defenses down at the same time if he passes through? Something to think about. One way or the other, I think the wall's coming down. We've got to have the White Walkers eventually get to Westeros. So, finally, things we won't see. I don't think Jon and Dany will meet. I think Daenerys is going to be mostly focused in the south, and Jon mostly focused in the north, and there the twain shall meet until either the very end of this season or more likely season 8. I just don't see them coming together until kind of closer to the end. I also think it's going to have to do somewhat with Jon's actual identity, since it turns out that they're related and everything. So I don't think that that's something we'll see in season 7. I also don't think we're going to see Lady Stoneheart, because I think she's been written off the show. So, I mean, but then again, I didn't think we'd see Benjen Stark either, and we did. So I've been wrong before. I was actually pretty close on a lot of my predictions last year, though. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes, especially with shorter season and only 2 seasons left, and we're so far afield from the books now. It's kind of weird to even really speculate, because it's going to be very strange to go back to the books actually and try to read them. When the new one comes out, if the new one comes out, The Winds of Winter, it's going to be interesting to read that book now that we've seen the story play out on the TV version, even though the versions are going to be different, obviously, very different. There's so many different characters who aren't in the show, who are in the books. It's going to be confusing. I think it's going to make my brain hurt. But anyways, those are my predictions. I'm sure there's many other things that I'm leaving out here. So, including like Sam. I think Sam's going to discover something in the Citadel. I'm not quite sure what. And there's lots of other characters involved here that we haven't really touched on. But those are seven or so predictions. Let me know what you think. If you have any other predictions, if you think I'm wrong about something, or if you think that I didn't go far enough, in the comments. Thank you. Love you. Peace.